So now, let's go into the lesson. What's going on in the earth today? We see what's going on over there in the Middle East. And by the way, remember when people were all up in arms and talking about, oh, Egypt and what's going on over in Egypt, and people are, they stirred everyone up in a frenzy? Somebody tell me why Egypt is not in the news right now. It was the end of the world at one point for Egypt. Everybody was talking about Egypt. You know, I think there's people even making videos out there talking about, yeah, he got them people to go to Egypt. I ain't get nobody to go I ain't make nobody go nowhere. That's number one. Okay? People are grown folk. They do what they want to do. All right? Number two, yeah, these people are going to get killed and destroyed over there. Oh, it's total mayhem. What happened? Why no one is talking about Egypt right now? Where you at? Why no one's talking about Egypt? Why the news is not talking about Egypt no more? Have anything changed in Egypt? What changed? The people are still poor. After the so-called revolution, their stock market almost crashed, and their dollar or their pound is worth less now. A lot of their institutions that used to be able to go to were burned down during that period, so their life is not better. So what changed? You know what changed? What changed was it wasn't about the people from the beginning. What changed is they got Mubarak out. That was the point. Mubarak was their roadblock between war and non-war with Iran. That's it. And the controlling of the Suez Canal. This had nothing to do with revolutions of a people. See, we have to understand what's going on here. The Western world is playing off of the natural attributes of the Arabs. The Lord tell you that Ishmael shall be a wild man. If you ever live around these people and understand these people and walk around them, they are the most over-dramatic people on the earth. And it's natural for them, but you might think that they're about to lose their minds. But they're just, this is their natural attribute. They're just wild. It's nothing to get 10, 15, 20 people and pay them 20 pounds a piece to run down the street and scream out of their minds for nothing. And they'll do it. Okay? It's nothing for these people to come up to you. Now, it's not normal. Somebody coming all up on you like, hold up, brother, I don't know you. It's nothing for them to come in your space and just be right next to you and be like, hey, what's going on? What's your name? This is how they operate. So the Western world, it looks crazy to us how they stage things. But it's nothing to go into the Middle East and go into Egypt and go to certain parts and see 20, 30 Egyptians just running down the street, just hollering for no reason and screaming, but they're having fun. You'll think it's a riot until you get adjusted to understand, okay, let me tell you, man, it looks like a revolution after they win a soccer game. After they win a football game, it looks like a revolution. So when it was happening, I'm telling people, listen, man, the people are fine. I'm talking to the people in Egypt. They're fine. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The people saying, listen, I'm not leaving because if I leave, I might not be able to get back into Egypt. I want to put that out there. And then they say, listen, I just want to put this out there because we have some brothers and sisters over there. During the time when all the ruckus, they were putting it out there in the media, and they said, well, listen, America got planes waiting to evacuate Americans. As if Americans were dying. Like people were not dying at all. Military wasn't killing anyone. It was absolutely nothing. Right? But all those that was panicking based on the Western world news was rushing out to get to the airport. And who have cameras waiting at the airport? BBC, yes. The Western News, and then they purposely held up the plane so that the airports can look packed with all these people as if there's some traumatic thing going on, right? And no soon as Mubarak steps down, okay, there's no more media. Nothing changed. The Egyptians' life didn't change, nothing, right? And then, listen, after Tunisia, then Egypt, then all of a sudden, let's point to Libya. Let's point to Libya now. Come to find out, these revolutionists are not even citizens of this country. It's a group of factions of so-called Al-Qaeda, which was set up by the CIA, the British intelligence, and American intelligence, that hire Arabs to go into different areas and bust them out of different areas into another country and have the same people standing on top of tanks taking pictures, when these people are not even the real revolutionists. It's photo ops from one country to the next to make you think that these people are trying to stand for freedom against their tyrannical president, right? But really, we're going to give a Bible understanding of what's going on right now. This is what we call the beginning of the battle of Armageddon. Now I'm going to tell you, the Western world will accomplish the majority of things they set out to do. It's going to happen. But at the end of the day, it's going to push God's people. It's going to push God's people into a corner. And we're going to call on our God, and we're going to, the small faction that's left in this earth will fight together. We'll be forced to come together under that. All right? Because they're aiming this thing towards destroying us. Y'all looking at the Middle East. Y'all don't realize that a lot of these people in the Middle East, it's our people who are scattered throughout different places when we left Israel. They're still aimed towards destroying us. Farrakhan said something very important when he mentioned that in his personal conversation with Gaddafi, he told him that the black man will lead this at the very end. Gaddafi said, and Gaddafi know that, and if you look at Gaddafi, he looked no different than a so-called Puerto Rican. Okay? A lot of our people are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. Another thing he brought up that I wanted to relate to y'all, that was quite interesting, is that Mubarak was looking to use the oil to benefit Africa and his people, and started an African alliance against the New World. Yeah. He was looking to nationalize the oil so the oil can benefit his people. So that would take away from the European oil that's coming over here to Europe. That's why France wanted to attack them, and NATO got together to attack them, because he was trying to empower the African countries. The Western world is looking to empower tyrants and set up coups and civil wars in Africa so that they can take the resources out of Africa.
Well, it's the same thing that they did before.
Same thing. It's divide and conquer. Talking about they're there to try to take out this tyrant and this dictator. Hold up, you know, and Farrakhan said, he says, listen, when is it that America didn't like dictators? When is it that the Western world loved dictators? They set up their own dictators for their special interests. So I'm putting this out there. Do not believe anything you see on BBC or anything you see on the news concerning these wars. If you want to know what's going on, you can go into this Bible. It'll tell you exactly how these wars are going to end. The Western world will accomplish the majority of things they want to accomplish. But at the end of the day, when they finally pull Iran into this war, because I'm telling you now, I've been saying this for about 7 years on end. Listen, all these little things, don't even worry about that. Life will be normal up until they deal with Iran. A lot of things is going to happen. But keep your eye on, let me tell you, a lot of you don't understand, and I said it before, how deep and how powerful Iran is on this earth. I'm telling you. And Iran do not have an army spread throughout the four corners of the earth. Okay? All over the place, fragmented and separated. Iran's military is easily 5 million strong, waiting. 5 million strong in total defense of their country. And that's not even counting the outside powers and connections they have throughout the earth. So I'm going to show you, according to the Bible, what's going to happen. These little revolutions they are setting up, this is nothing. This is just about control of petrol, control of oil. This is what this is. All right? It have nothing to do with releasing people and giving people democracy and giving people freedom. When have the Western world ever cared about you having freedom and liberty? You think they care about Arabs? How can you say that I'm down and I want to free the Libyans and I want to free the people of the Arab world, and you just killed like 2-3 million Iraqis? Okay, so you're not for Arabs, okay? And you continue to kill people in Afghanistan, but you want to liberate the people in Libya. And then you have Israel, who's just slaughtering and killing all these Arabs in Gaza, but no one is trying to take them out of position to do what they're doing in Gaza. It's about the oil, man. Libya have the finest and the most oil on the African continent. The petrol, that's what it's about, the oil.
And in Iraq, it's all American contractors that do the oil, no Halliburton.
Absolutely, that's what it is. So it have nothing to do with it, but it's going to turn on their head. Why?